They used to call it Midway. Now they call it the Forest City. But we call it home. This is Rockford. This is our town. The story of Rockford is one of rebirth and renewal. It's a story of a town you can't keep down.
Rockford is located at the confluence of three different rivers, the Pecatonica, the Kishwaukee, and the Rock. We had a variety of peoples coming here, Italians, Swedes, Germans, Irish. French voyageurs came from the St. Lawrence Seaway down into this area. The rivers provided a vast resource. Daniel Haight established a large place on the eastern side of the river. Germanicus Kent established the developments in the parts of town that are on the west side.
And they bought sections of land, divided them into smaller lots, and sold them off to settlers to develop the town, which at that time they called Midway.
Winnebago County was established in 1835. Eventually, Rockford became a city in 1852, changing its name, obviously, from Midway to Rockford.
The Swedes arrived in New York through Ellis Island, and then they would board the train to Chicago. They couldn't get off the train because there was the cholera epidemic there. They stayed on until the end of the train in Rockford. That's why we have so many of our Swedish populations on 7th Street and Kishwaukee Street.
Ever since its beginnings in the 1830s, hoping to be a center of river commerce, Rockford has found new ways to reinvent itself time and time again, finding new niches, new industries, and new ways of making its mark on the world.
The Rockford story is also about patriotism and love of country. People in Rockford have always been at the forefront in defending America in time of need. During the Civil War, Camp Fuller was established in an area of town known as Churchill's Grove as a training ground for 4 Illinois regiments. And with the advent of World War I, the U.S. Army built an infantry training center in Rockford named for Ulysses S. Grant.
Camp Grant itself was more than 1,500 buildings, and its height had at any one time 50,000 soldiers camped there. This more than doubled the population of Rockford. After World War I, it became a National Guard camp, and then it went fallow for a little while, but with the advent of World War II, the U.S. Army reestablished Camp Grant. In addition to being a camp for inducting soldiers into the Army, as the war progressed, both in World War I and in World War II, it was also used as a prisoner of war camp for captured German soldiers. Some of those soldiers stayed in northern Illinois after the war and are still living in this area today.
Another aspect of Rockford's legacy is America's pastime. In fact, we have a very special place in baseball history. So special that it inspired a Hollywood film, A League of Their Own.
Well, in 1943, when the war was going on, Wrigley was losing a lot of his ball players to the services. So him and his cronies came up with this idea of a women's baseball league. Well, the Rockford Peaches was one of the first teams. We drew big crowds. We 5,000 to 6,000 people. We filled the stands every night. I was fortunate enough to be on the 50 team. We are rebuilding the stadium, Bayer Stadium that the Peaches played in all these 60 years ago. We've got a new women's baseball team now. It's called the Starfires.
John Nelson came to Rockford with the first Swedes. Although he was a trained master carpenter, he was also a gifted inventor and skilled mechanical engineer. His parallel row knitting machine enabled production of the first socks with a seamless heel, known as Nelson Red Heels.
We don't know how it got started or who made the first one, but somebody looked at John Nelson's sock and decided, I can make a monkey doll out of this sock. It is so amazing to me how widespread this is around the world. The knitting industry is gone from Rockford, but it lives on through the sock monkey doll.
Rockford's growth was fueled by companies as diverse as the city itself.
In the 1850s, Rockford got its start in industry with the harnessing of the river and the creation of a water power district that pulled that river power in for factories to operate. Agricultural implement manufacturers went to work in the 1850s. In the 1870s, furniture manufacturers came to town.
When the Swedes arrived here, many of them were very good furniture makers. They knew about working with wood. And so at one time, we had almost 100 furniture factories here.
And then they've established new industries to support them in the way of fastener manufacturers, woodworking machinery, and even companies manufacturing metalworking machines. Many of those companies went on to support the auto industry in the early 1900s and eventually aviation and aerospace.
And through the years, Rockford has been home to a number of great industrialists and inventors. Like John Manny, who invented a reaper for harvesting grain in the 1850s. Amos Woodward, who received a patent for a water wheel governor in 1870. Howard Coleman, owner of 149 patents and founder of the Barber Coleman Company. Per August Peterson, founder of the Swedish-American Hospital and president of 14 companies, including the Sundstrand Corporation. And Levin Faust, who helped found the Rockford Park District, the Mechanics Machine Company, and built the Faust Hotel.
Just like the Swedes, the Germans, and the Irish established our community and brought their strengths and skills to the community, we have diversified so much since then with new immigrant populations coming in, the Hispanics, the Hmong people, Laotians, and bringing their new perspective and dimension to our community, making Rockford a better place for the future.
Today, Rockford is home to 3 healthcare systems that have provided over 300 collective years of healthcare to the greater Rockford community. Rock Valley College, Rockford University, established in 1847, historic Midway Village, beautiful Anderson Gardens, the Laurent House, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright, one of the best park districts in the nation, the Coronado Theater, the Rockford Symphony Orchestra, the Mendelssohn Chorale, the longest-running Pro-Am golf tournament in the country, Memorial Hall, built in 1903 to honor and serve Winnebago County's veterans, and an amazing people who handle the good times along with the bad, with an eye to the future that is never closed. Because that's what this city is all about. Here and now, and way back when, our culture, our dynamism, and our optimism have always served us well, and will continue to do so.
Rockford has come a long way. From the horse and buggy to the aerospace industry, we've always found a way to reinvent ourselves. I feel very good about where we're headed. Why? Because we have a strong people and a strong city. Our future's got to be prosperous. This is Rockford.
This is Rockford.
This is Rockford.
This is Rockford.
This is our town.